pain, we all go through it. Goodbyes are sometimes voiced by us all. Grief is that of us longing to keep what we behold. But what is our portion on this earth? What must we treasure in our hearts? What belongs to us, if anything? Our body, the vessel that holds us, sometimes fails its duty. Vain possessions that we labor for and cannot come back for. Which of these things will be valuable in the end? What about the ones we cherish and will die for? Belong they to us? Think again. Who has given anything to me, says Yahuwah, that I should repay him? Whatever is under the Shamayim is mine. As she listens and meditates on these words of Yah, the weight of her loss lessens. She then passes from suffering to endurance. Why is there so much suffering in the world? Said the grieving mother just a few moments ago. If it were up to me, you'd be alive. I would be your mom and you my child. I wouldn't be sitting here missing you so much. Now that you are gone, my heart has a huge hole. I was so in awe of how perfectly formed your body was in my hand. Yet, to never hold you in my arms, nurture you, or even get to say goodbye, I wrestle with my heart's goodness and the purpose of suffering. Why did my baby die? If you've ever lost a loved one, you know just how painful and potent grief can be. Everyone mourns in their own way. But no matter who you lost and how you cope with hardships, grief, as painful a season as it is necessary part of our healing. Grieving can make those around us uncomfortable. Turn to friends and family anyway, as some may show up in tears and silence. Take heed to an elder's counsel, and more importantly, pray and listen to the word of Elohim to ease our broken hearts and bind up our wounds. As we look to scriptures to overcome our grief, the Ruach HaKodesh can strengthen us, guide us, and help us grow and see beyond our loss. A life short-lived is that of man on this earth. As a flower of the field he passed. Qoheleth stated, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the Shamayim. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. Well, what is our portion in this life? In the end, all that remains is the Ruach. Knowing this, how would you comfort a friend in this time? Or encourage a grieving sister in the word of Elohim to proceed with discernment? Listen, and let wisdom speak. For she will teach you by what virtues to proceed with self-control, prudence, tzedakah, and fortitude. For she foresees signs and wonders and the events of the seasons and times. With her wisdom, our thoughts run wild. In difficult times, one must abide in the word of Yahuwah to continue to blossom and bear fruits. Shalom, set apart ones. We will continue with our series, The Garden of Our Heart, tending to it by looking deep into the wisdom of Yahuwah and focusing on one tree or plant, flower or fruits, and what we can learn from them to set our hearts on things above. Today we will look at the almond tree, also known as shaket. The almond tree has brought me back to my childhood. I spent most of my summertime at my grandmother's farm, and in the front of her home was a giant almond tree that I enjoyed growing up. it remains one of my favorite nuts. Its flowering period is January, February, and March. Although there are many species of the almond tree in Israel, like the silver-leaf almond, the bitter almond, common almond, and many more, the almond tree symbolizes Yah's watchfulness and promises over his people. Shaked means hasten, which explains the passage in Jeremiah 1 verses 11 to 12. The word of Yahuwah came to me saying, Yirmiyahu, what do you see? And I said, I see a branch of an almond tree. Then said Yahuwah to me, you have seen well, for I will hasten my word to perform it. The Hebrew for watching sounds like the Hebrew for the word almond tree. Shakad means to watch, wake, and shape like an almond. So we must shakad, watch how salvation will come to deliver us out of our troubles, trials, and grief. The promise to restore Israel requires us to watch as we wait for his salvation in whatever we are going through. Aaron's rod that budded was a miracle because the flowering, budding, and fruiting of the almond in nature always differ in time. We are to keep watch as we read in Proverbs 4 verse 23. Guard our heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The almond was also part of the divine design for the lamp, the Menorah in the tabernacle. Yahuwah instructed Moshe to make the bowl of the lampstand in the shape of the almond flower. The buds and the fruits, however, had also to be present. But remember Hannah, when she prayed and vowed in her heart, she was with a heavy Ruach, beseeching Yah for a child. And we saw that Eli spoke to her this word, go in shalom, and the Elohim of Israel grant you your request that you have asked of him. And she said, let your female Eved find favor in your sight. So the woman went away and did eat, and her appearance was no longer sad. And they, including her family, rose in the morning early and worshipped before Yahuwah, and returned and come to her bayi in Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and Yahuwah remembered her request. Therefore it came to pass, when the time had come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bore a son, called his name Shemuel, saying, because I have asked him from Yahuwah. As we notice, wisdom was with Eli, and he foresaw the changes in Hannah's future season and time, which implies that her promise was already fulfilled. Soon after, she rose early in the morning and worshipped before Yahuwah, not just her, but with her family. Notice that her worship came before the promise, which was already fulfilled for her. The pathway became clear for her to pass from suffering to endurance. What is the immediate step to take when going through hardship, grief, and pain? The ultimate test is listening to the only one who foresees past this moment. Wisdom of Elohim called us in Proverbs 8, saying, listen, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things, for my mouth shall speak emet, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips, and all the words of my mouth are tzedakah. There is nothing perverted or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understands, and right to them that find out. Receive my discipline and not silver, knowledge rather than choice gold. Melech Shlomo said also, for Chokhmah is better than rubies, and all the things that might be desired are not to be compared to it. I, Chokhmah, dwell with insight and find out darat and foresight. Yahuwah is the giver of shalom, understanding, knowledge, and wisdom. Do you believe in him who can restore? Would you surrender to the only one who can mend the brokenhearted and foresee past this moment? Before you can ask anything, he knows your every thought, because everything under the Shamayim is His. And if you are His, abide in Him, for the Ruach of Elohim comfort those who endure till the end. Those who have ears to listen, heart to submit, and obey His Torah. Meditate in His word, and like Hannah, worship Him while waiting and healing. The only thing that we can see beyond the physical was breathed into us to keep and to become is the Ruach. What are we without it? Can we lose what belongs to YaH in the first place? Because YaH is Echad, and we are to be part of that oneness, or not. His Spirit must reside in us to be of Him. In Him there is shalom, and only by Him can we transition from suffering to endurance.